Hi everyone, welcome back for another video review. Today we have something bigger to play with. At AJH Synthesizers, they were kind enough to send their demo case for review. What we have here is 3 rows, 84 HPs per row, filled with AJH modules. The first row is a MiniMod system. The second row is another MiniMod system, so these are identical. At the bottom, we have some additional modules, like the Ring SM, the Sonic XV, some more MiniMod modules, like the CV Mix Offset VCA, Dual LFO VCA, and the DH ADSR envelope module. We got a couple of those. In this specific video, I will be covering the AJH MiniMod system as a synthesizer, just one row. I will be using more than one row so I can show more things at the same time, but we will be focusing on the MiniMod as a synthesizer, as a system. In following videos, I will be covering additional MiniMod modules, the Ring SM XV as well. So please, yes, subscribe and keep an eye on this channel so you will see these individual video reviews coming up. I think this is the best way to do it because you know me, guys, if I try to cover this whole case in one video, we're going to end up with a 12 hours long video, and I'm sure that's not what you want. So one video per module will be the best thing to do. I will keep the introduction section short, because if you are old enough to have owned an early Model D, you already know how good it should sound. And if you are too young to care about a 45-year-old synth, chances are all you care about right now is how the AJH MiniMod system sounds on its own, never mind what it is based on. And you may not be into covers of music sounds from the 70s. You want to know what it can add to your synth setup today for the type of sounds and music you create today. Briefly, the MiniMod presents itself as an all-analog, high-quality series of modules that recreate the individual sections and supposedly the great sound from the very early Model D, the MK1, of which only 300 were ever made. So yes, you are supposed to be able to create patches that sound just like the original 45-year-old wonderful Model D. But AJH went beyond that. They brought that circuit topology, that VCO design, still using discrete transistors, no integrated circuits here, that fantastic ladder filter, those snappy envelopes. They brought it all forward for today's synth users by giving us the original sound and features, plus removing the limitations of the original standalone closed synth system, which didn't have much in terms of patch connections. They brought it all forward by adding a bunch of very useful features, additional control, Eurorack inputs and outputs, so you can fully integrate the MiniMod system with your existing hardware within your music creation and performance workflow. And of course, you can also use the system as a standalone, great-sounding analog synth. As a quick overview, the system includes the GLIDE+NOISE module, 3 identical VCOs, each can output 4 waves at the same time, a transistor ladder filter with 3 inputs, so you can connect these 3 straight in there and start with some fat patch straight away, a double envelope generator, it's a contour generator, and the dual VCA, they're connected in series, so there is a VCA module there as well. Some example of what the MiniMod system offers in addition to the original Model D. Let's see, the VCO adds external sync 2 types, linear and exponential modulation, fully adjustable pulse width modulation, of course, for the square wave, and CV controllable pulse PWM CV input here. For the ladder filter, there is voltage control emphasis, resonance really. They have added an overdrive capability. For that, you will have to use a jumper at the back to enable or disable the overdrive. And also, there is control, CV control over the emphasis, which releases the resonance. For the VCA, they've added control of each individual VCA. Again, they are connected in series. And there is also an overdrive capability for this, again with a jumper at the back. Apart the tube-like overdrive capabilities that has been added to the VCA stage compared to the Model D, there are also other additions, which of course are very welcome considering, again, we are in the modular world. And there is control and CV inputs for both the VCAs. Now, let's clarify this. Yes, there are 2 VCAs inside this discrete cascaded VCA, but it is cascaded. So VCA1 and VCA2 are connected in series. VCA1 goes into VCA2. VCA2 is the one at the end, at the output. So audio 1 and audio 2 do not refer to VCA1 input and input on VCA2. These are 2 audio inputs, audio input 1 and 2, that you can mix into VCA1. The same thing about the CV inputs, CV1 and CV2. These are the 2 CV controls for the level of VCA1. They are summed, CV1 and CV2, to control the level of VCA1. You can also use just one CV input. If, for example, you have 2 waves from the same oscillator or 2 sounds that you would mix together anyway, so you only need 1 CV for both. Or you can mix them to add things on and off. Now, the second VCA has a dedicated CV input and control. Again, this was not there on the original Model D. With nothing plugged at this input, you have a plus 10 volt gain to play with. I mean, this simulates the pedal input and control that was on the Model D. You can input control voltage here of up to plus 10 volts. With nothing plugged in, if you set this at 12 o'clock, you have unity gain. Otherwise, you can input voltage and control the output stage. The dual contour, the envelope generator, has a manual trigger, which is handy, and also LED clearly showing you when the envelope starts or if it fades away. The GLIDE+NOISE module, they've added individual manual trigger for up-only glide, down-only glide, and of course, the up and down glide. Also, they've extended the range of the glide. In the glide, now we can have up-only, let me play this, up-only glide, and the range is bigger than the For the VCO, they've added a sync option with 2 types of sync. The top selection works better with a Sawtooth, ramp up Sawtooth, any ramp up wave. I'm using instead the low section to sync the first VCO with the second one. Okay, let's look at an example of the sync. I have set it to the low position. The master VCO, the one sending the sync signal, is set to a higher frequency of the slave VCO. I'm using the square wave from VCO1 to go into the sync input of VCO3. I'm taking both Sawtooths from both VCOs to go into input 1 and 2 of the filter. The square wave, the syncing signal, it's going to the oscilloscope. It's the blue square wave. The Sawtooth from the slave VCO, it's also going to the oscilloscope. So you will be able to see the Sawtooth catching onto the square wave sync signal, and you will be able to hear how the interaction between the two sounds changes, how this sound changes. We don't need the kick and snare. And also, actually, we don't need the input 3. I got it up, but there you go. So now you're listening to 1, 2, and 1. Okay. Another addition is the fully variable and controllable pulse width modulation, instead just a couple of extra settings. To show this, I have a VCO1 going into input 1 on the mixer, VCO2, that's a Sawtooth, VCO2 we're using the square wave, so we can have a look at it, goes into the input 2, and the Sawtooth from VCO3 goes into input 3. Pitch comes from the sequencer, some glide on VCO1, and then the pitch without glide for the other 2 VCO. Now I have the square wave going into channel 1 of the oscilloscope, that's the green square wave, and I have the output of the filter going into channel 2, which is the blue waveform. So if I play something, you can see the square waves, and you can see how it will change by changing the pulse width. As an example. The filter is fully open for now, of course. But really, the system is about using more than one VCO at the same time, different octaves and so on. So let's add the Sawtooth from the first one. It's really about the interaction of these voices once they get all mixed and filtered by one ladder filter. So now we have added the second one. the third one. Some sync now between the oscillators, and keep in mind we are keeping the oscillators pitched in tune with each other. We're not even adding a slight variations of pitch. I'm taking the Sharktooth to sync the square wave and the other Sawtooth. Let's open the filter. Now we use the square wave. Take the sync out. And of course you can also use an envelope. Now I'm taking an envelope from a DHA DSR to control the pulse width modulation through CV voltage. Let's open the filter so you can hear it all. When you use CV voltage to control the pulse width modulation, this becomes an offset control. I think you get the idea. I mean, we definitely did not exhaust all the possibilities of sound variation, just playing around with the PWM control and some of just switching octaves and so on. Two more control voltage inputs have been added to each VCO, and there is a linear CV control and exponential CV control, and this is the exponential CV control knob and the linear CV control knob. Let's do an example. Let's just play some notes. Let's start with it. Okay, I have the 3 VCOs going into the mixer, and I'm going to apply some control voltage to the second VCO. I have the output of this VCO, the Sawtooth, going to the oscilloscope as well, so you can see the effect of the voltage control modulating the pitch and, of course, the wave that comes out of it. I'm sending the voltage control is coming from this DHA DSR module, so I can control and change the speed and so on. So let's start to add some of this voltage in. With the exponential input, of course, we have a more drastic effect on the pitch change, on the modulation. A very nice addition is the ability to engage an overdrive at the filter stage and at the VCA stage. At the filter stage, if you remove the jumper from the back of the module, you will enable the overdrive, which gives you a 70% boost on the signal. This can be used to simulate the same kind of added distortion and presence and character you could achieve on the Model D by taking the headphone output out and plugging it back into the external input of the filter in the Model D. So in other words, you send the output of the synth back into the synth. By adding the boost on the filter, you achieve the same type of sonic result. At the VCA stage instead, if you enable the boost by removing the jumper from the back of the module, you are adding about 300% boost on the signal. And it gives you around 20% of tube type of harmonic distortion on the signal. Of course, when you add that kind of boost, the level is going to go up, the voltage, the output, that goes up to 11 volts instead 5. So take care in case you are sending the output of the VCA 11 volts to another module. There is no, another module you may have that is not designed to cope with such hot signals. So, you may want to, for example, take the master control, which is the control level for the second VCA in this dual VCA module. Now, these VCAs in here are connecting in series. So this controls the level of the second VCA. If you set it to 12 o'clock, you're setting it at unity gain. So if you add a boost, remember to lower it. If you have to, if you don't have to, you can keep it high if that's the kind of volume and hotness you're looking for. So with this, you can control, if you play around the unity gain, you can control how much of that extra harmonic dirt you're adding to the signal. Well, let's put a maximum for now. Another thing you can do is use the AJH Synth Gain Switich module. This is a simple passive module. It gives you 6-way multi as another bonus, I guess. Anyway, the cable of the first switch you can connect at the jumper location at the back of the filter, and the cables from the second switch connect to the jumper location on the VCA module. With the switch in the up position, there is no boost. If you push the switch down, it's like removing the jumper, so you enable the boost individually. Okay, so let's have a listen. Okay, this is the sound without resonance, without filter boost, and without VCA boost. It's a very simple patch. I simply have the Sawtooth and the square wave going straight into input 1 and 2 of the ladder filter. Let's add some resonance. Now, as per the Model D, when you add a substantial amount of resonance, you are going to lose some of the presence at the bottom end. Okay, let's set it here, 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock, right? Now we are going to add the boost at the filter stage. With, without. You can clearly hear the difference. Unless maybe you're using, I don't know, laptop speakers or something. It's nice. So that's with the boost at the filter stage. Okay, now, no boost, just 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock resonance. Now let's add the boost at the VCA stage. The volume is going to go up. So you could use the master control too. So now we have this 12 o'clock. This is no boost. Now I'll enable the boost and take this back to unity gain. See? So you can keep the volume at the level that you want, but you definitely have that added presence from those from that harmonic distortion. And now we add both distortion at the filter and the VCA stage. And now you can sing. Without resonance. Let's play around with the PWM on the square wave. I could listen to this all day. I am a sucker for distorted sound, so as you probably can tell. Not necessarily from here, but some of my other videos, probably the sound is a little bit distorted too. Being a modular unit, it's of course a really good thing that they've added, compared to the MiniMod, an emphasis CV input. That's for control voltage of the emphasis resonance using a backdraw. There is an emphasis CV knob to attenuate whatever voltage we send through this input. And if we do use the emphasis CV input, the manual control operates like an offset for the values we send. Okay, let's say that I have this patch. This is the original pattern, okay? Just play the first pattern. Now, the first three notes, they are okay. I mean, they are not, but let's say they are okay, just for the purpose of the demo. What I want, it's a more marked difference between the first three notes and the second set of three notes. I want the second set of three notes to sound more like a bell, triangle, higher pitched sound with a little bit more of an impact. So if I was to do that manually, this is the effect I'm trying to achieve. Instead, this. We are in the world of modular, so, thankfully they've added a CV input. And another good thing is that on the MiniMod DH ADSR envelope module, they have also added an inverted output of whatever shape you create with this control. So what I have done, I have an envelope. I have set it, with the attack, the release, the hold, and so on. It would be high for the first half of that pattern and low in the second half. But I need the inverted shape because I need the higher voltage, which means higher resonance, in the second part of the pattern. And if I send it to maximum, now, and of course I trigger this envelope just so they know the channel of the sequencer. So now we will have that effect of low resonance, high resonance on those specific notes automatically thanks to this input. Of course, one of the advantages of having three VCOs of the same type is that you can create some nice, fat, warm, monophonic synth voice. But why stop there? You can also use this system as a paraphonic synthesizer, where, yes, you use one filter and one VCA, but you have three voices. If you look at the keyboard now, I am going to play a chord. I'm using a MIDI to CV interface to allocate each key press to a different VCO. That gives you three voices to play with. I'm still using only one filter and one VCA. Indeed, let me show you the patch. It's a very simple patch anyway. The pitch of each note going one to the first VCO, another one to the second VCO, and another one to the third VCO. I want to play this as if it was a piano with chords or chords and a melody. there's 2 note chords and the melody. I'm using the exact same waveform. It's in this case the Sawtooth, 1, 2, 3, going to input 1, 2, 3 on the filter. If you use different waves, then when you press 3 notes, one of these notes is going to sound different. There may be what you want, but in this case, it's not what I want. I want one sound. I want to play 3 different notes at the same time. So I have this 3 oscillator going into the filter. The output of the filter, this purple cable, goes into the input of the VCA. Now, these are the 3 gates, one per each note. So it doesn't matter what note I play on the keyboard. These 3 gates, they all summed together. I mean, so it doesn't matter what I press, it comes out of here as a 1 gate, the sum of these 3. It goes to trigger the envelope that in turn opens and closes the VCA. And I'm using the envelope with the switch down, so I have attack, decay, sustain, and release. That's pretty much it. Okay, well, I'm using the dual LFO down here. The first one, I'm using the triangle output, and it's going to the frequency CV, so it's giving me a little bit of a filter frequency sweep. The other LFO is going to the linear CV to modulate the pitch of one oscillator a little bit. That is because not only I'm using the same wave out of each of these 3 oscillators, but I've tuned them almost equal to each other. They're not exact to each other because otherwise it would sound too small. But when I want to add a little bit more variation, instead of going and just change the tune of one of them, I can add some of this linear modulation. I'll show you. Okay, let's say I'm playing this sound here. I'm going to play 3 octaves, so it's the same note. I'm going to roll my fingers down so you can see which notes, and I'm doing it without the linear modulation. Now add modulation. So there is one VCO with the pitch that oscillates a little bit up and down. That gives a little bit of extra character to the sound. And I like that in some case. Indeed, when I will play this patch for you, if I play 3 notes as octaves, yes, I have this modulation in. But when I go to play a normal chord, I will take it down because playing 3 different notes gives you some depth anyway. So I don't need to add the linear CV, the modulation as well. And I use the bass drum just to start some side chain on the sound when I will play it, just to fill things up a little bit. It's a very simple patch. It's a very simple beat. It's just to show some paraphonic sound. I am recording this in mono. It's only the mono 1 output from the VCA going into the recording interface. The silly bit is going to start and then we play. This is just one VCO, the triangle wave straight into the filter, well, just trigger gate. There is some glide. let's add some LFO to the frequency cutoff. Now I just have the square wave straight into the filter. There is some drive, drive off. The only modulation I'm using, the triangle from the dual LFO, I set it to Sawtooth, so it's ramping up and is controlling this filter through the 1 volt per octave input. And I'm using the gates that come from the keyboard through the MIDI to CV converter to actually sync the start of this ramp, so that when I press the key, that's when the frequency is modulated by the Sawtooth from this LFO. For something like this. And let's just add a little bit of reverb in Logic. I just wanted to mix things up a little bit. I got a couple of waves from VCO1 going into 4 and 5 of ring SM, so there is some drive on the output 5, on the input 5. Then into the ring modulator go 2 waves from second VCO. The third one just a square wave into input 2, and all over ring SM just goes there. There is no LFO or anything like that. And yeah, that's it. Right, simple patch, square, Sawtooth, triangle, filter, envelope, VCA, pitch and gate from the keyboard. That's all. Okay, so what do we think about the MiniMod as a system, as a synth? Well, it's great. Yes, of course, it's based on a great synth, on one of the most iconic synths, but it's not just that. It has been brought forward to today's time, matching today's needs of a modular system. Not only is divided in modules, and you could, of course, take just some of these modules and put them in your system, but as a synth, or individually again, it has been enhanced with not only a number of additional well thought out, useful features, but it has also been enhanced in terms of connectivity, so it will fit right in and will interact with any other modules in your Eurorack system. Individually, each of these oscillators sounds good. As a 3 oscillator monophonic synth, you can there is a wide palette of sounds you can get out of these sound effects. You can have deep fast sounds, driven mid-range sounds, ear-piercing leads, snappy sounds, percussive sounds. It's a creative source. You wouldn't feel shortchanged for having this as your initial main system and then building around it. And in terms of building around it, of course, even within the AJH Synth ecosystem, there is a bunch of great additional modules from a really nice modulator, mixer, etc. I may have already uploaded the review for this one. If not, it's coming. This is a great module. This is another great filter, which is different from this one. This is a transistor ladder filter. This is a diode ladder filter with something very unique in itself. CV mixing, additional LFOs, and so on. So so you can add to it quite a lot. The build quality, it's great. There is quite a consistency in the quality of the front panels and the knobs. Sometimes you might buy one module, it must have happened to you, it did happen to me, where the control knobs within the one module, they feel different, they're not consistent in quality. But with this, and here we have one top row of mini-mods, one middle row mini-mods, and more mini-mod and additional modules, and there is a great consistency of turning friction, of quality of these knobs. As a system, it's also well designed. I might have mentioned this before in some of the other AJH videos. They all come with all the hands-on control at the top of the modules and all the connectivity at the bottom. So it's very easy to have all your cables horizontally laid out and have free access to the knobs for your live tweaking or just for easy editing of the sounds, even if you're not playing live with it. You don't have to fight against the cable to access the controls, which is great. And individually, each module has its own reason to exist, even outside the MiniMod system. And that is because each module is of good quality and each module is individually well featured. As a glide unit, it gives you independent up and down, or up and down together, off, on for the glide, noise generation, 3 types of noise, a hold control. The VCO can provide at the same time 4 different waveforms. You have exponential and linear control, CV control. You can have 2 types of variable sync. They tune easily, they warm up quick enough. The filter is great on its own and can filter sounds from anywhere. They don't have to be from here. 3 inputs, so you can have 3 sounds going in there. Of course, there's 3 because as a MiniMod, the system is designed as a 3 oscillator synth. The dual LFO, you have a hands-on easy control of attack, decay, sustain, or attack, decay, sustain, and release, where decay and release are controlled by the same knob, so they have the same timing as the original design. And you have 2 of those with, of course, independent gate and output. The VCA, remember, this is not a dual VCA as in 2 independent VCAs. This has 2 VCAs inside, but one is the VCA where you send in the audio in and so on. The other one is the final output master VCA. So the 2 audio puts and the CVs, these are mixed together to open and close the VCA. So it functions as one VCA in a way, but it does have 2 inputs, and you can have 2 separate CV control, which can be creative in use actually, and as a 1 unit synthesizer. And of course, you have 3 VCOs, 3 inputs, and you can definitely have some fun even using it as a paraphonic synth with 3 voices, but with 1 filter and 1 VCA at the end. Now, there is something to say about the use of same types of VCOs when creating fat patches and so on, or just very interesting organic sounds, especially if you don't sync them. And that is that if you have a specific sound in mind, but you want it slightly detuned and fatter and so on, it's easier to achieve if you do have the same type of VCOs that you're combining to play with. Of course, you can do similar things with different VCOs from different makers with different characteristics, but because they sound individually different from each other, it's not as straightforward to combine different oscillators to create an interesting single coherent sound. By having multiple oscillators of the same type, you can indeed create a sound that is a strong, coherent, that has character, but it does have your edited detuning and organic clashing, slight clashing against each other to make the overall sound more interesting. It's easier if you have 2 or 3 of the same type to achieve that kind of result. In no way I would say go for one system only, because I personally have a Frankenstein kind of Eurorack case, and I enjoy all of it, but I definitely appreciated the smoothness of sound editing with something that was designed to work well without having to lock yourself into a separate hardware synthesizer, one with keys and so on, which may have limitations in the number of inputs and outputs. So something like this, it does offer you the best of both worlds. So something that is designed beginning to end by one very clever brain, that sounds great, and the layout is consistent, plus it's still very modular, and it has all the inputs and outputs you need. So yes, it's a great compromise. Actually, there is no compromise, because it's a great 3-voice synth while being modular and having all the Eurorack format connectivity that you need. It's just a very flexible combination of modules and a very flexible sound creation tool. So all in all, it's an easy synth, and these are easy modules to recommend to someone that is starting in Eurorack, so that it can have that synth feeling while accessing all the flexibility of a modular system. And then you can add to it with any other modules you have on your shopping list. It is also easy to recommend as an addition to a system like mine, where I have a bunch of different modules. I don't have this type of circuit design, so they would definitely complement what I already have. And it's also easy to recommend as a bunch of individual modules to add to your system while maybe you work towards a little bit at a time building a MiniMod system. And having had this now for a few days, well, I am definitely impressed. I really like this system, and I can't wait to hopefully, gradually being able to add one at a time these modules to my system and gradually build a MiniMod system. Now, this was my second encounter with the MiniMod system. First time I put my hands on one of them was a Synth C in Hastings, I think. That's when I met Alan from AJH Synth. He was at the Synth show showing his modules. Really nice guy. Actually, I wrote about that encounter on my website. It's on sonicvoltage.com. You will see one of the articles where I talk about about meeting Alan and my first contact with the MiniMod system that was on display that day. Now, having had this for a few days, so I had the chance, of course, to have a much better and deeper look at it. It definitely was everything I was expecting and way much more, way beyond it, because all the features and the connectivity. So it's all thumbs up. So if you find this video useful, if you liked it, please click on like under the video, and please post your comments below, and subscribe, because I have more videos coming out. So again, thank you for watching this video. Until next time, happy Euroracking!